Lieutenant Jake Miller gripped the edge of his console as the bridge lights flickered. The USS Independence, one of Earth's newest destroyers, hummed with nervous energy. Radar screens showed something massive approaching Earth's orbit. "Sir, you need to see this," said the radar operator, her voice shaking. Jake leaned over her shoulder. The object was bigger than anything humans had ever built. It appeared out of nowhere, like a ghost becoming solid. The ship was made of crystal that shifted colors like oil on water. "Alert the Admiral," Jake ordered. His training kicked in, but his heart raced. This was it. First contact. The alien ship stopped above North America, casting a shadow over 3 states. News helicopters buzzed around it like flies, their cameras streaming live footage to billions of viewers below. In Washington, Ambassador Karen White rushed into the Situation Room. She had spent her life preparing for diplomatic missions, but nothing could prepare her for this. Military leaders crowded around screens showing the alien vessel. "Have they made contact?" Karen asked, straightening her jacket. "Not yet," General Frank Johnson replied, "but they're about to." A deep voice suddenly filled every radio, television, and phone on Earth. The aliens spoke perfect English, which scared people more than if they had spoken an alien language. "People of Earth," the voice said. "We are the Zathari. Your planet now belongs to our empire. Resistance is pointless." Jake watched from the Independence as smaller ships emerged from the mothership. They moved like fish through water, ignoring gravity and physics. "Fire a warning shot," the Admiral ordered over the comm. Jake nodded to the weapons officer. A missile streaked toward the nearest alien craft. Everyone held their breath. The missile hit something invisible and exploded harmlessly. In space, the alien ship didn't even wobble. "Direct hit on their shields," the weapons officer reported. "No damage." The aliens responded by firing a beam of blue light. It hit an empty patch of ocean and the water boiled instantly. Steam rose miles into the sky. "That was a demonstration," the alien voice continued. "We could have destroyed your ship. Surrender now." Ambassador White grabbed a microphone. "This is Ambassador Karen White of Earth. We wish to discuss terms. Violence is not necessary." "There is nothing to discuss," the aliens replied. "You have 1 hour to surrender. Military." Bases worldwide went to maximum alert. Fighter jets scrambled. Nuclear submarines moved into position. But everyone wondered the same thing. How do you fight an enemy whose shields stop everything? Dr. Lisa Chang burst into the Pentagon's war room. The physicist had been studying the alien technology since it appeared. "Their shields are beyond anything we imagined," she explained, pulling up diagrams. "They operate on quantum principles we barely understand. Our weapons are useless. There must be something we can do," General Johnson insisted. "I need more data," Lisa said. "We have to test their shields, find a weakness." The hour passed quickly. Earth's leaders refused to surrender. The aliens began their attack. Jake watched as the alien fighters descended on major cities. Military forces opened fire with everything they had. Tanks, missiles, artillery. Nothing worked. The alien shields glowed briefly with each hit, then returned to invisible. "It's like shooting at a wall of air," a pilot reported before his plane was vaporized. In New York, people ran through the streets as alien ships hovered between skyscrapers. Police officers emptied their service weapons at the craft, but the bullets bounced off harmlessly. The aliens weren't killing many people. They were making a point. They disabled power plants, military bases, and communication centers with surgical precision. "They're showing us we can't fight back," Karen realized, watching the destruction from a bunker. "They want us to feel helpless." As night fell, fires burned in cities across the globe. The alien mothership remained motionless above North America, a constant reminder of humanity's new masters. Jake Miller sat in the darkened bridge of the Independence, wondering if this was the end of human freedom. He didn't know that soon. A simple discovery would change everything. The war room buzzed with activity as General Frank Johnson studied the battle maps. Red dots marked where alien ships had disabled military bases. Every major city had at least one Zathari vessel hovering above it. "Status report," Frank demanded, his face grim. 90% of our Air Force is grounded," Colonel Martinez replied. The aliens targeted our runways first. Navy's mostly intact, but our ships can't hit. Targets in the air. Frank slammed his fist on the table. What about the nuclear option? The room fell silent. Using nuclear weapons on Earth's own cities was unthinkable, but they were running out of choices. Sir? Dr. Lisa Chang interrupted. I've been analyzing their attack patterns. The Zathari shields adapt to incoming fire. The more energy we throw at them, the stronger they get. So we're supposed to do nothing? Frank asked. We need to think differently, Lisa said. Maybe try weapons they haven't seen before. On the streets of Los Angeles, police officer Maria Gonzalez helped evacuate civilians. Alien fighters zoomed overhead, their shields glowing as they deflected incoming fire from military helicopters. Keep moving, Maria shouted, guiding people toward underground shelters. A young mother carrying a baby stumbled. Maria helped her, up noticing tears streaming down the woman's face. They killed my husband, the woman sobbed. He was just trying to protect us. Maria had heard similar stories all day. The aliens weren't conducting mass slaughter, but anyone who actively resisted faced instant death. In a secret bunker beneath Colorado, scientists worked on experimental weapons. Dr. Paul Roberts led a team developing an electromagnetic pulse cannon. If we can overload their shields with a massive energy surge, maybe we can create an opening, Paul explained to his team. They worked through the night, converting a prototype into a weapon. By morning, they had something ready to test. The first field test took place in Chicago. A Zathari ship patrolled the downtown area, occasionally firing warning shots at buildings where resistance fighters hid. EMP cannon ready, the operator reported. Fire, ordered the local commander. A wave of invisible energy hit the alien ship. For a moment, the shield flickered. Everyone held their breath. Then the shield stabilized, glowing brighter than before. It's not working, someone shouted. The alien ship turned toward the EMP cannon. A beam of light shot out, turning the weapon and its crew to ash. Similar scenes played out worldwide. The British tried sonic weapons. The Russians used chemical agents. The Chinese deployed experimental lasers. Nothing penetrated the Zathari shields. We're learning more about their technology, Lisa reported to the Joint Chiefs. But everything we try makes them stronger. It's like they're designed to absorb and adapt to any attack. What are our options? The president asked via video link. Honestly, we don't have any good ones, Frank admitted. We can keep fighting and watch more people die, or we can negotiate. Ambassador Karen White had been trying to open communications with the Zathari. Every attempt was met with the same response. Surrender or die. They're not interested in diplomacy, Karen told the president. They see us as primitives to be conquered. As the second day of the invasion ended, human casualties mounted. The aliens had destroyed every major military installation. Power grids failed across continents. Food and water became scarce as supply chains collapsed. In small towns and big cities, people gathered in churches, mosques, and temples. They prayed for a miracle, for someone to find a way to fight back. Jake Miller sat in the disabled USS Independence, monitoring what remained of Earth's communications network. Most channels were filled with static or alien propaganda. Lieutenant, a junior officer whispered, "Do you think we have any chance?" Jake wanted to lie, to give hope. But he couldn't. "I don't know," he said honestly. "But humans are stubborn. We don't give up easily." As darkness fell on the second night of occupation, humanity faced its greatest challenge. The most advanced weapons had failed. The brightest minds couldn't find a solution. But somewhere in Chicago, a simple accident was about to change everything. Private Ryan Cooper crawled through the rubble of a collapsed building in Chicago. His squad had been separated during an alien attack. His high-tech rifle was out of power, and his radio crackled with static. "This is Cooper," he whispered into the dead radio. "Anyone copy?" Silence. Ryan heard movement ahead. He pressed himself against a wall, heart pounding. An alien scout rounded the corner. The creature stood 7 feet tall, wearing armor that shimmered like mercury. Its helmet had no face shield, revealing pale blue skin and large black eyes. The alien raised its weapon. Ryan fumbled for his empty rifle, then remembered the old pistol holstered at his hip. His grandfather's World War II service weapon. A simple 9mm he carried for luck. The alien spoke in its clicking language. Ryan didn't need a translator to know it was ordering him to surrender. "Sorry, Grandpa," Ryan muttered, drawing the pistol. "Looks like I'm going to scratch your gun." The alien's shield flickered to life as Ryan aimed. The creature seemed amused, tilting its head like a curious bird. It had seen human weapons bounce off its shield countless times. Ryan squeezed the trigger. The 9mm bullet passed through the shield like it wasn't there. It struck the alien in the shoulder, spinning the creature around. Blue blood sprayed across the wall. Both Ryan and the alien stared in shock. The creature stumbled backward, clutching its wound. Ryan fired again, another clean hit. The alien collapsed. "No way," Ryan whispered. He approached carefully, keeping his pistol trained on the fallen enemy. The body cam on Ryan's helmet had recorded everything. He didn't know it yet, but that footage would change the course of the war. 3 hours later, Ryan found his way back to a military outpost. He was covered in dust and alien blood, clutching his grandfather's pistol. "You're not going to believe this," he told the first officer he saw. Colonel Sarah Martinez watched the body cam footage for the 5th time. Scientists and military leaders crowded around the screen. "Play it again," Dr. Lisa Chang demanded. "Slower this time." They watched frame by frame as the 9mm bullet passed through the shield. Lisa paused the video, zooming in on the impact. "This doesn't make sense," she muttered. "We've hit them with railguns, lasers, plasma weapons. How does a 100-year-old bullet design succeed where everything else fails?" "Maybe it's a fluke," suggested General Frank Johnson. "One malfunctioning shield." "We need to test this," Lisa said. "Get me every type of conventional firearm you can find." Word spread quickly through military channels. Within hours, soldiers worldwide were testing small arms against Zathari shields. The results were consistent and shocking. In London, British troops discovered that their standard-issue rifles worked perfectly. In Moscow, police officers found their service pistols effective. In Tokyo, even ancient muskets from museums punched through alien defenses. "I think I understand," Lisa announced during an emergency video conference. The Zathari shields are designed to detect and deflect high-energy threats. They have sophisticated sensors that identify incoming projectiles by their energy signature. "English, Doctor," Frank interrupted. "Their shields ignore slow, simple bullets," Lisa explained. "The aliens come from a high-tech civilization. They never imagined someone would attack them with primitive projectile weapons. It's like building a security system that stops missiles but ignores rocks." The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Humanity's most advanced weapons were useless, but their oldest ones worked perfectly. Ryan Cooper became an instant celebrity. His body cam footage played on every surviving news channel. People who had lost hope suddenly saw a chance for victory. "Get this. Man a medal," the president ordered, "and find out how many conventional weapons we have in storage." Warehouses full of obsolete weapons were opened. Museums donated antique firearms. Gun collectors volunteered their private collections. Police departments shared their ammunition. Stockpiles. For the first time since the invasion began, humans smiled. The Zathari had made a critical mistake. They had underestimated the value of simple solutions. As news of the discovery spread, resistance fighters emerged from hiding. Armed with hunting rifles and handguns, ordinary people began fighting back. The tide of war was about to turn. Dr. Ben Foster stood in front of a captured alien shield generator, surrounded by his research team. The device looked like a chrome sphere covered in glowing symbols. They had taken it from the alien Ryan Cooper had killed. "Let's run the test again," Ben said, adjusting his safety goggles. His assistant fired a laser at the shield. The barrier glowed bright blue and deflected the beam. Next, they tried a railgun. Same result. The shield stopped everything. "Now the conventional weapons," Ben ordered. A technician loaded a regular hunting rifle. The bullet passed through, cleanly. They tried a crossbow next. The arrow sailed through like the shield wasn't there. Fascinating, Ben muttered, scribbling notes. The shield has a threshold. It only activates for objects above a certain energy level. Colonel Maria Rodriguez entered the lab, carrying a box of ammunition. We need answers fast, Doctor. The aliens are adapting. They're starting to retreat to higher altitudes where our small arms can't reach them. I'm working on it, Ben replied. Look at this data. The shield measures incoming projectile velocity and energy. Anything moving slower than 400 meters per second gets ignored. So we need slow bullets? Maria asked. Exactly. But there's more. The shield also ignores objects with low electromagnetic signatures. Modern ammunition uses advanced propellants that create detectable energy spikes. Older gunpowder doesn't register on their sensors. Maria's eyes widened. Are you saying antique weapons work better than modern ones? In some ways, yes, Ben confirmed. The simpler, the better. Across the country, military strategists revised their battle plans. Warehouses full of World War II surplus were emptied. Vietnam-era M16s were pulled from storage. Police departments distributed revolvers alongside their modern pistols. In a factory in Detroit, workers converted an automobile assembly line to produce simple firearms. They couldn't make anything fancy, but they could stamp out basic shotguns by the thousand. Keep it simple, the factory manager told his team. No electronics, no advanced materials. Think 1940s technology. Gun shops became strategic resources. Hunting stores saw lines around the block. People who had never held a weapon learned to shoot. Grandparents taught their grandchildren how to use the family's old rifles. The aliens noticed the change in human tactics. Sithari commanders held emergency meetings aboard their mothership. The primitives have discovered our shield's limitation, reported the alien science officer. They use projectile weapons below our detection threshold. Recalibrate the shields, ordered the commander. We've tried. If we lower the threshold, the shields activate for dust particles and raindrops. The power drain would be enormous. The Zathari faced a dilemma they hadn't encountered in centuries of conquest. Their advanced technology had become a weakness. Back in Ben's lab, tests continued around the clock. They discovered that subsonic ammunition worked best. Regular bullets could be modified by reducing the powder charge. Even BB guns proved effective, at close range. We need to think like our ancestors, Ben told his team. What would a medieval army do against these shields? This sparked new ideas. Engineers designed modern crossbows with improved accuracy. Special forces units trained with compound bows. Some creative soldiers even built potato guns that fired ball bearings. The news spread globally. In rural areas, farmers defended their land with old hunting rifles. In cities, police officers patrolled with revolvers their departments had retired decades ago. Children's slingshots became weapons of resistance. It's beautiful in its simplicity, Ben explained during a briefing. The Zathari spent millennia perfecting defenses against advanced weapons. They never considered that someone might throw a rock at them. Colonel Maria Rodriguez organized the distribution of this knowledge. Every military unit received updated combat manuals. Radio broadcasts taught civilians how to modify their weapons for maximum effectiveness. Remember, Maria announced over emergency channels, slower is better, older is better, simple is better. For the first time since the invasion began, human casualties dropped while alien losses mounted. The Zathari, confused and angry, made their first strategic error. They descended from high altitude to engage human forces directly. Humanity had found the enemy's weakness. Now it was time to exploit it. Captain Steve Walker stood before his assembled troops in the ruins of Fort Benning. Soldiers carried an odd mix of weapons, antique rifles, modern pistols with modified ammunition, and even medieval crossbows. Operation Slingshot begins at HFY dawn, Steve announced. We're taking back Atlanta. His soldiers nodded grimly. Many had lost family in the invasion. Now they had a chance to fight back. The plan was simple. Multiple teams would attack simultaneously, overwhelming the aliens. With conventional firepower, no lasers, no smart bombs, just good old-fashioned bullets. As the sun rose, Steve led his unit through the empty streets. Abandoned cars lined the roads. Windows were shattered, but the city was quiet. Too quiet. "Contact, 2 o'clock," whispered Sergeant Amy Johnson, pointing to an alien patrol. 3 Zathari soldiers moved down Peachtree Street, their shields shimmering in the morning light. They seemed relaxed, confident in their invulnerability. "Remember your training," Steve said. "Aim for center mass. Fire on my mark." The aliens never saw it coming. 30 rifles fired at once. The bullets passed through their shields like they weren't there. All 3 aliens dropped instantly. "Move up," Steve ordered. "Team 2, secure the intersection." Similar scenes played out across the city. Human forces advanced block by block, using tactics from World War II. The aliens, used to energy weapons and high-tech warfare, couldn't adapt to street fighting with conventional weapons. In New York, firefighters used their high-pressure hoses to knock aliens off balance before police officers took them down with service revolvers. In Los Angeles, gang members joined forces with law enforcement, their street knowledge proving invaluable in urban combat. The counterattack spread worldwide. In London, the Royal Guard marched on alien positions with their ceremonial rifles, which turned out to be perfectly functional. In Tokyo, martial arts masters taught soldiers how to use throwing stars and other traditional weapons. Lieutenant Jake Miller watched the battle from the repaired USS Independence. The ship's conventional cannons, previously considered backup weapons, now served as their primary armament. "Target locked," reported the weapons officer. "Alien frigate at bearing 270. Fire," Jake ordered. The old-style armor-piercing shells punched through the alien ship's shield. Explosions rippled across its hull. The frigate listed to one side, then crashed into the ocean. "I never thought I'd say this," Jake muttered. "But thank goodness for outdated military equipment." The Zathari command structure began to crumble. Their soldiers, trained to trust their shields completely, panicked when faced with weapons that bypassed their defenses. Some surrendered. Others fled to their ships. But humanity wasn't just fighting to survive anymore. They were fighting to win. In Moscow, Russian forces used World War II-era tanks to assault the alien ground base. The vehicles were primitive by modern standards, but their simple shells proved devastatingly effective. In rural Texas, ranchers on horseback herded aliens into kill zones where hidden snipers waited with hunting rifles. The Zatharis advanced. Sensors couldn't detect the approaching horses or the camouflage shooters. "They're pulling back to the mothership," reported General Frank Johnson from the command center. "All alien ground forces are retreating." But Steve Walker wasn't satisfied with just liberating cities. "We need to keep the pressure on," he told his commanders. "Don't let them regroup." The hunters had become the hunted. Human forces pursued, retreating aliens using guerrilla tactics that confused the technologically superior enemy. Children with slingshots took out alien drones. Elderly veterans dusted off their service weapons and joined the fight. By nightfall, most major cities were back under human control. The cost had been high, but humanity had proven something important. Advanced technology wasn't always better. "Sir," Steve's radio operator called out, "Command wants to know if we can push the advantage. They're planning an assault on the mothership." Steve looked at his exhausted but determined troops. They'd gone from near defeat to driving out an alien invasion force in just days. "Tell Command we're ready," Steve replied. "It's time to finish this." Commander Ashley Thompson studied the alien mothership through her binoculars. The massive vessel hovered 20,000 feet above Kansas, surrounded by smaller escort ships. "That's our target," she told her crew. "The brain of their operation." Her team had converted a fleet of cargo planes into flying fortresses. Instead of bombs, they carried millions of rounds of conventional ammunition. The plan was crazy, but it might work. Engineer Matt Davis finished his final checks on the modified weapon systems. "We've installed rotating barrels that fire standard bullets at reduced velocity. They should penetrate the shields without triggering them." "Like flying machine guns?" Ashley asked. "Exactly. We're turning these cargo planes into giant Tommy guns." The attack force consisted of 30 aircraft from various nations. Each plane carried tons of ammunition and brave volunteers who knew this might be a one-way mission. At midnight, they took off from hidden airfields across the Midwest. The planes flew low to avoid detection, using terrain to mask their approach. "Remember," Ashley broadcast to all aircraft, "we need to get close. Our bullets lose effectiveness at long range." As they neared the mothership, alien fighters moved to intercept. But the escorts made a fatal mistake. They came too close. "Open fire," Ashley commanded. Thousands of guns opened up simultaneously. The night sky filled with tracers as bullets streamed toward the alien fighters. One by one, the escorts fell from the sky. "Their shields can't handle this volume of fire," Matt observed. "We're overwhelming their systems." The mothership's main guns powered up, but the cargo planes were already inside minimum range. They circled the giant vessel like angry hornets, peppering it with continuous fire. "Concentrate on the engine sections," Ashley ordered. "Look for weak points." Matt had studied the footage of every alien ship encounter. He noticed something important. "Commander, there are vents near the rear. I think they're heat exhausts." "All units, target the rear vents," Ashley broadcast. "Pour everything you've got into those openings." The barrage intensified. Bullets found their way into cooling systems and power conduits. Small explosions began rippling across the mothership's surface. Inside the alien vessel, chaos reigned. Commander Zalthor couldn't believe what was happening. His invincible warship was being destroyed by primitive projectile weapons. "Raise shields to maximum," he ordered. "We can't, Commander," his engineer replied. "The shield generators are overheating. These projectiles don't trigger our defenses properly." Back in the cargo planes, crews worked frantically to reload ammunition belts. They had prepared for this, bringing tons of bullets specifically manufactured for the assault. "We're running low on ammo," reported one pilot. "Keep firing," Ashley responded. "We're almost through." Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the mothership. Matt's theory about the vents proved correct. The concentrated fire had reached the main power core. "It's losing altitude," someone shouted over the radio. The mothership began to list to one side. Secondary explosions cascaded through its structure. Escape pods launched as the Zathari abandoned ship. "Don't let up," Ashley commanded. "Target those escape pods. We can't let their commanders get away." Some pods made it to smaller ships, but many were shot down. The mothership continued its death spiral, trailing smoke and debris. On the ground, people watched in amazement as the symbol of alien dominance fell from the sky. Cheers erupted in every city as news spread. The mothership crashed into empty farmland, creating a crater visible from space. The explosion lit up the night like a second sun. "All units, report status," Ashley called out. They had lost 8 planes to alien defensive fire, but the mission succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. The alien command structure was destroyed. "Look," Matt pointed to the remaining alien ships. The surviving vessels were retreating, heading for orbit at maximum speed. Without their mothership, without their commanders, the invasion force fell. Apart, Ashley allowed herself a smile. "Get us home, pilot. We've got a victory to celebrate." The tide had turned completely. Humanity had done the impossible, defeating a technologically superior enemy with creativity and determination. Admiral George Williams stood on the bridge of the USS Constitution, watching the alien fleet regroup in orbit. Without their mothership, the Zathari were disorganized but still dangerous. "They're forming a defensive line," his tactical officer reported. "Looks like they're preparing to leave." "We can't let that happen," George said firmly. "If they escape, they'll come back with reinforcements." The admiral had assembled every available ship and aircraft. The plan was simple but risky, a coordinated global assault to finish the Zathari once and for all. On the ground, something remarkable was happening. Civilians joined the military in unprecedented numbers. Teachers, doctors, farmers, and office. Workers picked up weapons and reported to assembly points. "I've never fired a gun before," said Helen Martinez, a kindergarten teacher now holding a hunting rifle. "But I'll learn. For my students." Police departments opened their armories to volunteers. Gun clubs provided training. Veterans ran crash courses in basic marksmanship. The entire planet mobilized for war. The assault began at dawn. Naval vessels launched conventional artillery shells at low-orbiting alien ships. Aircraft carriers deployed fighters armed with machine guns instead of missiles. All units, weapons free. George broadcast. Remember your training. Slow and steady wins this race. The sky filled with streaks of tracer fire. Alien ships that had seemed invincible days ago now fell like rain. Their shields, designed to stop high-energy weapons, offered no protection against simple bullets. In cities worldwide, civilians joined the fight. In Paris, citizens climbed the Eiffel Tower to get better shooting angles. In Sydney, surfers used their boats to attack alien craft over the harbor. "This is incredible," reported news anchor Tom Bradley. "I'm watching a grandmother with a shotgun take down an alien fighter. The People's War has begun." The Zathari commander, watching his fleet crumble, made a desperate decision. "All ships, emergency descent. We'll use the cities as shields. The humans won't fire on their own people." Alien vessels dropped toward populated areas, but they underestimated human resolve. "They think we'll stop shooting," George said grimly. "They're wrong." Police snipers took positions on rooftops. Civilians fired from windows. Every street became a shooting gallery. The aliens found no safe haven anywhere on Earth. Private Ryan Cooper, now promoted to sergeant, led a special team with a unique mission. They had captured several alien shield generators and reverse-engineered them. "Fire up the modified shields," Ryan ordered. The devices created bubbles of protection, but with a twist. They were calibrated to stop energy weapons while allowing bullets through. When alien ships fired their beam weapons, the shots bounced harmlessly off the modified shields. "Now they know how it feels," Ryan muttered, firing his grandfather's pistol at a passing alien fighter. The battle raged for 12 hours. By sunset, the alien fleet was decimated. Burning wreckage littered every continent. The few surviving Zathari ships attempted to flee to deep space. "Don't let them escape," George ordered. "Everything we've got." A final barrage of conventional weapons filled the sky. Nuclear submarines surfaced and fired modified torpedoes straight up. Air Force bombers dropped nets made of steel cables. The last alien cruiser, engines damaged and shields failing, sent out a distress signal. In their own language, they called for surrender. "Sir," the communications officer turned to George. "They're asking for terms." "Unconditional surrender," George replied. "They came here to conquer us. They'll leave as prisoners." The alien commander appeared on screen. His blue skin was pale with fear. "We accept," he said through a translator. "We surrender to Earth." Cheers erupted across the planet. People danced in the streets, fired guns into the air, and embraced strangers. The impossible had happened. Humanity had defeated a technologically superior enemy using the oldest weapons in their arsenal. "Get me the president," George said. "Tell her the war is over. We won." President Ellen Baker stood before the United Nations Assembly. Representatives from every nation filled the Great Hall, their faces showing a mix of triumph and exhaustion. "Today we celebrate not just victory but survival," Ellen began. "We faced extinction and chose to fight with whatever tools we had." The room erupted in applause. Delegates who had been enemies before the invasion now embraced like old friends. The alien threat had united humanity in ways diplomacy never could. Dr. Sandra Powell took the podium next. The physicist had been chosen to lead the newly formed First Contact Protocol Institute. "We learned something vital," Sandra explained. "Advanced technology can create blind spots." The Zathari were so confident in their superiority, they forgot about simple solutions. Behind her, screens displayed captured alien technology. Scientists worldwide were studying Zathari equipment, careful to learn from their mistakes. "We'll take their knowledge," Sandra continued, "but we won't abandon what makes us human. Sometimes, the old ways are best." At Arlington National Cemetery, a special ceremony honored the fallen. Private Ryan Cooper stood at attention, wearing his Medal of Honor. His grandfather's pistol, now famous worldwide, rested in a glass case beside him. "This weapon saved humanity," the general said during the presentation. "Not because it was powerful, but because it was simple." Ryan thought about that day in Chicago when desperation led to discovery. He touched the medal on his chest, thinking of friends who didn't survive to see victory. Museums around the world created exhibits about the bullet paradox. School children learned how humanity's oldest weapons defeated its newest enemy. The Smithsonian's display featured Ryan's pistol, next to a captured alien shield generator. "Never assume newer means better," read the plaque. "Innovation matters, but so does reliability." The captured Zathari were held in specially designed facilities. Their advanced technology was useless without their shields. Some agreed to share knowledge in exchange for better treatment. "We never encountered a species like yours," admitted Commander Zalthor during interrogation. "Most civilizations abandon projectile weapons as they advance. We thought they were obsolete." Earth's military, completely reorganized, every soldier now carried both advanced and conventional weapons. Training included lessons in ancient combat techniques alongside modern warfare. "A warrior should master all tools," became the new motto. Military academies taught sword fighting, next to laser weapon training. No one would make the Zathari's mistake again. The economic impact was enormous. Factories that had rushed to produce simple weapons now manufactured a mix of technologies. Old gunmakers became national heroes. Antique weapons increased in value overnight. 6 months after victory, Earth launched its first hybrid warship. The vessel combined Zathari energy shields with conventional armor and weapons. It could fire both plasma beams and solid projectiles. "We're ready for whatever comes next," Admiral George Williams announced at the launch ceremony. "We've learned to value both old and new." Dr. Ben Foster published his research on the Zathari shields. His paper, titled "The Danger of Over-Engineering," became required reading at universities worldwide. "Complexity isn't always better," Ben wrote. "Sometimes the smartest solution is the simplest one." Life slowly returned to normal, but humanity was forever changed. Children played with toy ray guns and wooden swords. Engineers designed devices with manual backups. People kept both smartphones and paper maps. 1 year after the invasion, President Baker addressed the world again. "We faced our greatest challenge and won with our oldest tools," she said. "Let this be our legacy, that we never forget the value of simplicity." In a small house in Chicago, Ryan Cooper cleaned his grandfather's pistol. His young daughter watched curiously. "Daddy, is that the gun that saved the world?" Ryan smiled. "No, sweetheart. People saved the world. This was just a tool that reminded us that sometimes the old ways still work." As the sun set on a free Earth, humanity looked to the stars with new confidence. They were ready for whatever came next, armed with both ancient wisdom and alien technology. The galaxy had learned not to underestimate the planet that defeated an empire with bullets.